one that's able to do that transformation picture, be able to show myself a couple months from now and a complete different person, as in I'm much happier, I feel much healthier, leaner, stronger, with a smile on my face, knowing that it was all natural. I did it because I wanted to. I just really wanted to share my story and how I got to where I am today with you guys, in hopes that I can share my passion for health and fitness and be able to change the lives of others the way that fitness changed mine. It's out there and it's for you guys to enjoy. And without further ado, I am super excited to welcome you guys to the story of my life and fitness transformation journey. Hey everyone! I can finally say that I am just about finished this video that I've been promising you guys for a really long time now. I think the main reason why it took me so long to finish this video was that I was having a lot of trouble internalizing that a finished journey and a finished transformation doesn't just have a start and end point. I really hope that you guys enjoy it. I have put my heart and soul into this video. The reason why it took me so long was because I just couldn't really figure out what I wanted to put in there. It is a little bit lengthy just because there was no way that I was going to be able to take anything else out. The last 3 to 4 years of my life has been a very wild journey. All the photos and videos in there really speak for itself. You'll be able to see kind of how everything happened, and along the way I will be narrating it. There will be 3 versions of me narrating this video. 2013 Evelyn, 2015 Evelyn, and present day Evelyn. So honestly, I just really hope that you guys enjoy it, and I just hope that you're able to relate with certain, if not all, parts of this video. Again, I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you at the end of the video. So I'm just gonna tell you guys a little bit about myself. I currently live in Kingston. I'm a first-year student at Queen's. I come from Ottawa. Growing up, people knew me as the outgoing girl who always has a smile on her face, who doesn't care about what anybody else thinks. But little do people know, I didn't have the greatest time in Ottawa, which is why I wanted to get out as soon as I could. In Ottawa, I actually got bullied out of high school. I attended a high school for 1 year, and I got called names like obesitron, fat Asian chink. A lot of the name calling dealt a lot with my weight, dealt with my ethnicity, the way I dressed, the way I looked. High school wasn't exactly the best time for me. In this society where everyone's so judgmental and they talk a lot about your weight, in order to be beautiful, you have to be stick thin. That's what's getting shown through media. I think it's really important that we raise awareness when kids start to feel like they're being mistreated because of their appearance. We really need to make sure that we remind them they're much more than what they look like. I've been waiting all this time to finish this video, and I realized that all along I could have finished it at any point. But for me, that moment of realization other people didn't depict how I felt about myself, that was when my whole world changed. I think it's really important that our generation understands what their self-worth is. Other people can't depict what you're worth. I have self-esteem issues. I would put on clothes in the morning, look in the mirror, okay, what's all this flab? I don't like the way I look. One of the most important things that I've learned is the only way that people are going to be able to make fun of you is if you let them. Looking back into this video, I realized that I kind of brushed over a lot of the issues that I actually really wanted to talk about in the first place. And that was things like cyberbullying, bullying, mental illness, depression. Like I mentioned a couple of years ago, I was severely bullied in high school, and I guess that's my drive for all of this, is to raise awareness. I've been bullied since elementary school, and it goes as early as grade 4. It got significantly worse in grade 7, 8, and then it just escalated in grade 9, 10, and then it's kind of started simmering down in grade 11 and 12. As many of you know and experienced, both grade school and high school is all about cliques. Unfortunately, in grade 7 and 8, I was a part of that quote-unquote popular one. However, within that popular clique, I was consistently bullied, ganged up on, and always miserable. I was so self-conscious at the age of 13 and 14, to the point where when I'm sitting in class, I always had a sweater on me. And if it got too hot in class, I would take the sweater off. When I took the sweater off, I would put it right underneath my belly so you couldn't see my rolls. And to this day, I still kind of do that. In grade 7 and 8, we actually had notebooks. We didn't text at the time because nobody had cell phones, so we actually passed notes in class. And my friends and I had a booklet. We actually had full-on conversations in these. I remember reading through the notebooks thinking that it was just me and my friend, but it turns out a few other friends were writing in it about me, and they would say things like, oh my god, it's disgusting, she's covering her rolls with her sweater. And I just remember reading this and my heart sinking, thinking that's exactly why I'm doing it. Like, I'm self-conscious and I do feel disgusted. Is it necessary for someone to be pointing someone else's flaws out like that? And grade 7 and 8 kind of went by a blur.
High school was a little different. I was good at hiding emotions and feelings in the halls. 90 to 95% of people didn't know all that was actually happening behind closed doors. For example, the cyberbullying behind the computer screen.
I thought that going to grade 9, it was gonna be a fresh start. I can put everything behind me. And the school that I actually went to was a Catholic school. It started from grade 7 and 8. Everyone almost already had their own clique going on. And there was just the occasional few like us that came in at grade 9. The first bit of school was okay. And then my best friend started turning on me. And then she started turning on me with a bunch of other popular kids. And long story short, everything started going towards cyberbullying and everything just went online. Facebook was a huge thing at this point. Kids were starting to get cell phones and it was like the kind of cell phone where you didn't really have good data. You were still texting T9 and to have a BlackBerry was like, oh my god. All the bullying happened on Facebook and I don't really remember too much of it because I've done such a good job in the last 3 years to kind of brush it off. Honestly, I don't really remember much of what people said to me, but I do remember how they made me feel. I remember going home every single night, I would just cry myself to sleep, hating life so much that I skipped out on classes. And skipping out on classes is not a thing for me. In my family, if you skipped out on classes, like you would get whooped. It's hard when you have pressure at home and then you have pressure at school because my parents didn't understand at all. Bullying, apparently in my parents' eyes, it's not a thing. You don't get bullied. You go to school, you do school, you get good grades, and you come home and that's that. There's no time for making friends. It was a cycle for me. Because of what was going on at school, I got bad grades because I wasn't able to focus. And then because I got bad grades, the pressure got even more intense. And then in turn, I started doing even worse at school. And it was just this bad cycle. It was to the point where I was basically hitting rock bottom. And if I didn't pick up my grades and just do better, I was probably not going to be accepted into post-secondary. And that was just, you have to go to post-secondary in my family. There's no other way around it. You had to go regardless if you wanted to or not. There was no other option. And I couldn't take anymore. I stopped going to classes. I remember at the end of grade 9, I actually got called into the principal's office and they wanted to know what was up. Turns out higher grades actually screenshotted what was going on social media and brought it into the office so that they could be made aware. They called me in because they knew that this stuff was going on, but I just didn't want to talk about it. I was so miserable and I just wanted to get out of there so badly. They begged me to go in. My mom was like, I'll drive you in there. We can go home right away. You don't have to stay. So I actually went into the school. I was like, I can't go here anymore. It's not gonna end well.
I actually ended up leaving that high school and unfortunately my house wasn't in the boundary lines for the school I felt comfortable going to, so the only way my parents were able to register me was to use my uncle's address. My parents had to become legally separated on paper and my dad had to change his address on all his bills in order for the school to allow me to attend there.
I couldn't do it anymore. One person can only take so much of other people telling them that they're not good enough or that no one's gonna love them or they'll never get anywhere in life. And then at some point, you actually start to believe them. And that happened with me. I believed everything everyone said. And
I think when I first started cutting myself, there was kind of two sides to it. The first side was that I just felt so numb inside. It felt like the only way I could feel anything was to do that. And then the other side, I think I was just internally crying for help and hoping that someone would just notice and save me from the thoughts that were going inside my head.
When a child is being bullied, they aren't able to see any other perspective. The only thing that can go through their mind is that they're alone. And when you're in a high school mentality, that's all you know. The only thing you know is what goes around on the internet and what goes around on the school grounds for 8-9 hours a day. That's where you are. You don't have a job. You're at school with all these other kids. You have recess, you have class, and you see each other in the halls, and that's about it. I remember that summer before grade 12, we went on a family trip to Australia, and for the first time in forever, I was really able to completely take my mind off of everything that was going on. For the first time in 3 years, I was actually able to think of something other than, why don't guys like me? Why don't I have friends? Why this? Why that? And I remember the only thing that I was able to think about was just being with family. Then I realized, holy crap, that was when I went back to the school that I got bullied out of in grade 12 and finished off my high school career there. And it was weird because people always ask me, why did you decide to go back to the place that you got bullied out of? At that point, point I saw my self-worth, and because I saw my self-worth, I was able to go back with a good head on my shoulders so that regardless of what anyone said, I wouldn't allow their words to affect me. I got a job at Daniel Leather at the age of 16. I was the youngest person there. The next person was 24 years old. For about 20 to 30 hours a week, I was working there and I was going to school. I was either at school or I was at work or I was sleeping and studying at home. I didn't really allow myself any time to worry about friends, about dating, about all these things that I used to worry about. It was so great because I remember going to work and all my coworkers telling me about real life problems. It's so weird to say, but it's problems that we deal with now. Housing, bills, all this stuff, and I'm just like, whoa. And here are people at school talking about who they're dating and all these high school problems, and I'm just sitting there listening to these 24-year-olds talk about real life issues and just being like, I am so excited to get out of high school and become a person, because all this time, this bullying that happened, I thought that that was the end of it. I thought high school was all it is. If I don't have these friends, I'm not gonna have friends for the rest of my life. I realized that there was so much more life outside of high school, and by changing that mentality and finally realizing my self-worth, knowing that I have a lot more to offer the world than what these people were saying of me, really allowed me to change and then go back to the school with a good head on my shoulders, get accepted to Queens. I was ready to take on the world because I knew that the moment I graduated, the rest of my life would begin. I remember the moment that I got the email getting accepted into Queens was probably the best day of my life. It almost felt like there was a huge weight lifted off my shoulders, and it felt like for the first time in forever I could breathe, that I got a chance at a new start.
So the main question is, how did my fitness journey actually start?
At this time, I would say it's about mid-2013. My parents got me a gym membership at the end of 2012, and that was when I started going. At that time, we didn't have any money for a personal trainer, so the best that my parents could do was get me a gym membership.
The only reason I started going to the gym was because my parents actually already had gym memberships at that smaller gym. At that time, I didn't really link the bullying with fitness. I didn't think fitness is going to save my life the way that I see fitness now. Back then, I just knew, well, what are my options? I don't want to go to extremes, but something needs to be done. So I started teaching myself everything that I know now on bodybuilding.com, YouTube, blogs. I just basically taught myself everything and did everything completely wrong.
I wouldn't really consider myself going to the gym because I would go for maybe a week, see some progress, and then I wouldn't go for about 2 months, and then I'd go for a week and then not go for 3 months.
I'm really proud to say now that it was a really slow start, but I did start, and that's something that I'm forever grateful for. As strict as my parents were, they honestly didn't have to buy me a gym membership. They didn't have to drive me to the gym. They did a lot for me and bent over backwards in ways that they could. And for that, I am forever grateful. A lot of kids don't have the luxury of having parents that are able to provide something like a gym membership for them.
The gym that I went to was a very small box gym, and everyone else was in their 50s and 60s. I was able to actually test things out. I was usually the only person in the gym, so it was really nice because then you're not embarrassed of failing and you're not embarrassed of doing things wrong. When you go to a big box gym now, it's a little intimidating because there's so many people around you staring at you, and you're just wondering, am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? So I was really lucky I had the opportunity to have my own gym to feel comfortable in, so that by the time that I did go into university, I had experience doing all these things, whereas a lot of people really didn't. The summer leading into first year was probably the most exciting time ever because the only thing that was going through my head was, you get your new start, everything's gonna be so much better, the rest of your life begins now. We had an amazing orientation week. I met so many new faces, and for the first time, people knew me as a random girl from Ottawa, and that was that, and people got to know you for who you actually were. At this time, I became really close with a few people on my floor, two of which are named Sydney and Emily. Sydney was my rock all through first year. Even when after she left, she was the person who held me together, helped me deal with all the problems that I had there.
Emily was the second person, but I'll talk about her a little later in this video. So here is a little 2013 physique update.
This is the beginning of my transformation process. I dress my size, like I dress to my body, where you don't see like muffin tops hanging out. For me being the size that I am, I'm not huge, I'm not completely overweight, but I'm also not the skinniest. I can so admit that I'm definitely not healthy right now. I have a lot of fat content on me, so it took me a while to be able to be like, I am overweight, I'm fat, that I do need to better myself. My arms, as you can see, it just jiggles. I do have a bit of muscle. I am a pretty strong girl. I do a lot of like exercise when it comes to dance, swimming, rugby, football, soccer. Part of my issue was not eating right. I do work out, but being fit and being healthy isn't just about working out constantly, it's about eating right as well. I mean, I was eating chips and fattening foods at 3 in the morning, gaining lots of weight. If you see my tummy, it looks like everything's held in. It's because of the way that I wear my clothes. I just show you, I have fat everywhere. Like I have fat here, but the way I wear my pants, I wear it up so then no one ever notices. The amount of fat I have on my thighs is nuts. I'll show you. I'm not gonna lie, my legs look a lot better than they did a week ago because I've been doing squats every single day.
When I started, I didn't have a coach or a trainer, so I didn't have any custom nutrition or training programs.
If you know me, you know that I get like hot really easily. It's because I have fat everywhere.
I honestly just made a lifestyle change and taught myself as much as I could.
All I have in my room right now is protein, supplements, lots of fruit, lots of vegetables. There's a lot of healthy alternatives out there. The reason why I decided to do a whole video and not just, post a transformation picture at the end of the year is because I want to help others that were in the same position but were too afraid they couldn't go through with it. I mean, I've tried this program literally 3 times. It's so hard not having a motivator, but also after the first couple times of somebody else motivating you, you kind of end up being the one who motivates yourself. Like I have a personal motivator who's another girl on my floor. She's the one who gets me to the gym.
And now we introduce Emily. She was my biggest motivator and she was my inspiration. Hella smart. Because of her, my fitness journey was able to excel to where it is today. If I didn't have her, I don't think I would have had the confidence to go to the gym and be at the fitness level that I am now. Going to a big gym like the Queen's Arc is scary. You go in there and there's all these people that look like they know what they're doing, and there's Olympic bars and there's barbells and there's 8 different rooms, and there's just so much that they don't really teach you or hold your hand to walk through. So having her by my side, being able to make that gym my own was honestly the biggest blessing, and because of her, I am where I am today.
Another reason why I'm actually doing this is because I'll just be randomly scrolling through Facebook. There will be a transformation picture. Seeing them before and seeing them after is like completely 2 different people. One really important thing that I want to put out there is that I'm really not doing this for anybody but me. I tried to lose weight in high school, but it was just so hard. It was still my past, so being able to move to a whole different city, meeting new people, barely talking to anyone from back home, it really makes you push yourself.
While I'm making this video right now, it's still the beginning. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pull through with it, but I know that I will be able to because I am very determined. I've set my goals. I know where I want to be, and I just hope that this will motivate many other people out there who feel like they can't do what drugs and stuff like that is unnatural, is not the answer to losing weight, and it's not the answer to having a healthier body, not the answer to be a healthy you. I just hope that after people watch this video, they're gonna be able to realize that there's other alternatives to losing weight.
In this 1.5 years, I've learned a lot about myself. What I thought would be a 3-month transformation ended up being almost 3-year transformation. I didn't use any drugs, it was all natural. I did it through dieting, going to the gym every single day.
One of the things that students struggle most with when going into university is the freshman 15. You are surrounded by so many different foods in the cafeteria, and a lot of them is all you can eat style. When I lived in res, you were surrounded by grilled cheese, hot dogs, burgers, and a lot of the times people don't really opt out for the salad or the healthier stuff. Oddly enough, I actually enjoyed our vegetarian, vegan, and gluten-free choices a lot more than the pizza, the burgers, and the hot dogs. Obviously, I still had those junk foods, but I didn't crave that as much as I did with the salads and the healthy breakfast and the cleaner foods. And honestly, when I started pairing that with actually going to the gym consistently, I also noticed that eating the healthier foods really did make me feel a lot better. I longboarded to school every single day. That was my only form of transportation. The moment that I started putting in grilled cheese or burgers or pizzas into my diet, automatically I would start to feel sick. I think because of the consistency, my body just got used to eating clean. Another rock in my life, her name was Gloria. You guys have probably seen her all over my Snapchat and Instagram stories. We became roommates for the remainder of university. She's the only person that I can spend 24 hours a day with and not end up fighting. We went grocery shopping together, meal prep together, and we also always had a staple breakfast. Our breakfast would usually include a lot of fruits, and then our dinners and lunches would include a lot of protein and carbs. Dance has been a huge part of my life since I was about 3 or 4 years old. It was something that I was very, very passionate about. So when I got into Queen's University, it was one of the main things that I focused on. Like I said, dancing is my passion, and I've loved dancing since I was really little. As the weight started shedding off, I definitely felt a lot more confident breaking down moves. Now I can be able to bust a move and have full confidence doing it. I began taking pole fitness classes at the end of 2014 and honestly just fell in love with it. I realized that I started replacing my regular dance classes with pole fitness. Because of Paula, Kendall, Sarah, and Pole Fitness Kingston, I actually got certified to become a pole fitness instructor. I love this sport so much because it allows me to incorporate my passion for dance as well as bodybuilding. My inner creative, flexible, and dancer self comes out to play, as well as my strengths from weightlifting. And although it is still cardio, I'm having so much fun doing it. All my life, I've hated cardio because doing cardio actually made me feel more unfit than I did of feeling fit. When you're a heavy person running or doing anything, it's a lot harder. So you feel very unmotivated to do it. It's funny, when people talk to me now, they see me as a fitness professional. A lot of my friends, family, clients, and even followers on social media look up to me when it comes to getting advice on fitness, health, and nutrition. And as you guys have seen, I was definitely not in the position to do so 3 to 4 years ago. If you were to ask me what the biggest lesson I've learned in the last 3 to 4 years of my life, it would definitely be that there's no perfect time to start than today. Starting is the first step towards attaining your goals. Majority of people don't grow up knowing exactly what they want to do in life. 5 or even 10 years ago, I would have laughed if you told me that I would be somewhere in the fitness and health industry. But if you don't step out of your comfort zone and try new things, you'll never know what the world has in store for you. To be completely honest with you guys, I never thought that my goal of becoming fitter and healthier would lead me to becoming a fitness competitor. In May of 2015, I worked at my first ever fitness expo. If it weren't for Karen, Jason, and OTF, I wouldn't be where I am in the fitness industry today. It was at this time that I knew fitness was my passion. This environment and the people that I was surrounded by really allowed me to show my true colors and be who I am, as cliche as that sounds. In April of this year, I had decided to compete. I was at Activate Expo and I met Debbie. Debbie was the reason I decided to compete. She saw potential in me that I hadn't seen in myself. Up until this point, I would say I did a pretty decent job at training myself. So when it was time for me to compete, it was time for me to find a coach and trust in somebody else. I had a pretty awesome support system going into this competition. My mom was in it full force. At no point in my fitness journey from the beginning till now have I ever been deprived of food. Even when I was prepping for my first fitness competition and I was in a caloric deficit, I was still washing down food with water because I just could not eat all the food that I was supposed to be eating. One of my first and most fun photo shoot actually happened about a week and a half before my first competition. Chris with 419 Photo did an amazing job. We shot for about 4 hours. I remember looking through the photos and thinking, holy crap, I can't believe I did it. Hey guys, it's me again. I am one day out. When I step up on stage, I want to inspire and empower other women. I want everyone to know that no matter what your struggle or your goal is, if you set your mind to it and you don't let anything knock you down and you don't let anything get in the way, you will overcome it.
Number 85, Evelyn Huynh. Ladies and gentlemen, Evelyn, you see here on stage, she didn't always look and feel like this. Less than 3 years ago, Evelyn weighed around 190 pounds and lived a life of bullying due to her weight. Now, ladies and gentlemen, she suffered through those emotional struggles, but she's made it through here and got the confidence by being on stage. And want to send out a message to every woman and man out there overcome their struggles and achieve their goals. Evelyn represents not only the physical strength but also emotional strength. And by setting your mind to achieve something, you can absolutely do that. She wants to say a big thank you to our close family and friends, and of course our wonderful coaches, Jean-Jacques, Nathan, and Manda. Big round of applause.
After competing, I turned my focus towards my business and towards my clients. I had an injury shortly after and couldn't train from December up till about the following August. My body adapts to new training techniques more than ever, so I can honestly say that my body has never actually plateaued in terms of training. And again, nutrition has been the biggest struggle for me since it's the first time I've actually lived at home in about 3 or 4 years. And trust me, once you've had my mama's Vietnamese and Chinese cooking, you'll never want anything else.
Contestant number 85, Evelyn Huynh.
This was a really funny moment because I already started walking backstage thinking obviously I didn't win, but then I realized that they actually called my number. There was a tremendous amount of emotions that overcame me that day, but it was the best experience ever. Whether I'll be stepping on stage is a decision for me to make at a later date. Right now, my focus is definitely on my clients, the business, and just being able to make a bigger impact on the world, hopefully starting with this video. Aside from my clients and my business, one of my biggest goals for the remainder of this year is to put out quality content on my Instagram and YouTube. You'll also notice that I posted a lot more workout videos and things like that. So feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and follow me on my social media platforms that I'll be posting down below. Before I end this, I just really wanted to say that there are so many more people than mentioned in this video that helped me get to where I am today. And I'm so grateful to have you guys all in my life. I appreciate you, you matter, and I can't wait to see you guys soon. Bye!